This guy, at like 27 years old, is what I would consider a pretty risky, functional, risky type of patient to work on, right? Because this kid his full-time job was destroying his teeth. So, in this type of a situation, the last thing I want to do is rush him out of his provisionals, right? Because these provisionalization now is my opportunity to verify whether or not I have things right. If he's going to break something, I want him to break it in plastic, not in porcelain. So I'm going to leave him in his provisionals for probably a couple of months at a minimum. And that gives me the ability to go back in and restore him, change from plastic into porcelain in segments, right? Because I don't like taking full arch impressions, because I don't like to work too hard and sweat at work. And taking full arch impressions is difficult, right? So I can now, when I'm in control of his occlusion, I'm in control of his aesthetics, I'm in control of the phonetics, now I can go back in and I can just change things out in segments and make my life a whole lot more easy. And that's my opportunity also to verify that the incisal edges are where they need to be and to make sure that I'm happy with the communication that I provided to him. So we transition into our final restorations, and you can see how beautifully now these lower incisal edges are paralleling her lower lip. Everybody, did you guys notice like this really bad, ugly crown back here? Originally, she's like, well, I'm just not concerned with spending the money on that right now. Took about 6 or 7 minutes after her real ones were in there to like make an appointment to replace that. All right, so now we have our rest position, our E position photograph, our tip down, and our 90-degree smile shot again. Everything is verified based off of what it is that we did. Preoperative, provisionals, final restorations. And this is just one of my favorite cases. My ceramist Mike did such a beautiful job giving us some beautiful lithium disilicate with a little bit of micro cut back in there for a very beautiful result. And so as you can see, it took Susie about 6 or 7 minutes to decide that she needed to replace that ugly yellow crown on that first molar. It's not the obligation of the laboratory technician to figure out where these teeth go in space three-dimensionally, where the incisal edge goes vertically, where the incisal edge goes horizontally, and what type of an anterior arrangement we'll end up with in our final restorations. We also have to decide what material will be used in our restorations, what functional relationship are they going to be placed, what specialists will be involved. And it can be overwhelming when we think of all the different factors that come into restoring anterior teeth. Remember that if we change an anterior tooth, and what happened is that I ran into the guy that just walked in the room back there. And so I started changing what I was doing. John, you remember this? My very first veneer case I showed you? Yeah. I remember I showed him that, and this is all like, before digital stuff. And he's looking at it, I'm like, what do you think? And he's like, yeah, you did it. All right, so anyway, a big transformation occurred between then and getting into 2001, and that was me running into that guy and starting to learn things a little bit. Things got better. This is like kind of one of my third big case I did. This is November 2001, and sorry this is so bad, but I'll tell you, trying to find these old photographs, it's like eons ago at this point in time. But the beautiful thing is these principles that I learned, this is the same patient, but this is now, 2018. And I want you to look how beautiful these still look. Look at the tissue around these restorations, and these are all the principles that I learned from John through Pete. And it's just a beautiful thing to see that. She has a teeniest little chip in the incisal edge right there. She didn't even know it until I brought her attention. I think she was like opening a bag of chips. But not bad for 18 years. So as we go through this process, we have an expectation of how things are going to turn out. And we think that our career is going to go from here to here. And I'll tell you, over this period of time, I had a lot of these, a lot of them. A lot of ups and downs, a lot of mistakes. I showed you multiples today. But in reality, this is typically what we experience trying to get where it is that we're going. And so this doesn't happen overnight. We don't go from this kid right here to this kid right here in 5 minutes. It's a process. And so one of the things that's important is that we need to find joy in the process that we're on. And I get the privilege of helping so many of you and our students that come through the academy. And there's a lot of times a lot of frustration in where you feel like you are in this process right now. And wherever you are right now is where you're supposed to be. And I think one of the greatest things that we can do is find peace in the fact that we're in the right place at the right time, and on the course that our career is taking, things are going just perfect.